Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we welcome to you a special ceremony marking the retirement of Senior Master Sergeant Paul Kodiak. The presiding official for today's ceremony is retired Lieutenant Colonel Scott Paul, former Deputy Commander, 32nd Operations Group, Creech Air Force Base, Nevada. We'd like to take a moment to recognize our distinguished guests with us here today. Senior Master Sergeant Kodiak's wife, Deborah, daughters Nikki, Gina, and son Paul, as well as his many other friends and family visiting virtually from out of town. We would also like to take a moment to disregard the Command Chief, 603rd Air Race Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Lee Mills, Command Chief, 3rd Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Nikki Drago. We would also like to extend a special welcome to all members of Team J-Bear and friends for being here to share this special occasion with Senior Master Sergeant Kodiak and his family. Please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the singing of the national anthem by A1C Richard Rosario and the invocation by Chaplain Warner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to Chaplain Warner on the left screen to my left and right.
Testing one. Hello. Thank you. As this is not a mandatory event, but in honor of Senior Master Sergeant Kodiak's retirement and service, this prayer will be offered in the Christian tradition. Please feel free to join me in prayer. Almighty Father, we come before you with gratitude and humility as we reflect on Senior Master Sergeant Paul Kodiak's 26 years of stellar service. We thank you for his work to ensure effective communications in combat situations during his early years. And for those of us who have witnessed his efforts as a first sergeant, we thank you for that bear-like determination that pushed him to use every tool at his disposal to care for airmen, no matter their rank or their difficult situation. Lord, none of his labors would have been possible without divine strength, protection, healing, and wisdom. Nor would it have been possible without the mentors and teammates that you blessed him with. And as we give thanks for those blessings, we also thank you for his family and friends who have supported and journeyed with him through the years. Today we ask you to grant a double blessing to his wife Deb for everything she sacrificed as she lovingly partnered with her husband and cared for her family. We thank you for the patience and sacrifice of Nikki, Gina, and Paul as they endured the transitions and difficulties brought about by military life. Father, as Senior Kodiak moves to this next chapter in life, we ask that the Holy Spirit will continue to walk with him. May he guide, encourage, and strengthen Sergeant Kodiak as he leads and cares for those around him in whatever he may do and wherever he may go. We ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Warner. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We are pleased to have us with today our presiding official, Lieutenant Colonel Scott Paul.
Thank you, Chaplain Warner, for the invocation. Airman Rosario for the singing of the national anthem. That's pretty darn good. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Colonel Anderson, Command Chiefs, Team J-Bear, thank you for being with us today. Today we retire Senior Master Sergeant Paul Kodiak after more than 26 years of service to the greatest Air Force in the world and to our great nation. I'm so humbled that Shirt Kodiak asked me to officiate this ceremony. It's been almost 2 years since I've worn this uniform last, and I can't think of a better reason to put it on one more time than to honor your service. Today's a day to celebrate the accomplishments of the entire Kodiak family, the sacrifices they've made throughout the years. Nikki, PJ, Gina, thank you for sharing your father with us over these 3 decades. Debbie, thank you for your service. Thank you for enabling Paul to do what he does so well. I'm confident that you are the secret ingredient to his success. People define a successful military career in many different ways. For some, it's as simple as leaving the Air Force better than when you found it. For others, it's to make rank or to make it past 20 years. To me, I always define success as my family standing next to me at the end of my career. Brother, any way you measure it, you've achieved success. I had the distinct pleasure of serving alongside Shirt for 2 years. He was my first sergeant. I'll never forget during my change of command ceremony, the group commander made the mistake of handing the guidon back to Paul instead of me. For about 10 seconds, he had squadron command. For that brief second, without skipping a beat, he made it appear that that was the way the ceremony was supposed to go, and no one was the wiser. About 30 minutes later, at the reception, Shirt came up to me, pulled me aside and said, "Boss, I'm really sorry to do this, but we have a domestic abuse situation." Keep in mind, I've been squadron commander for about 15 minutes. And I was wondering if he was trying to pull a fast one on me or if this was real. Unfortunately, it was real, but I was so blessed to have Kodiak there alongside me then and the rest of the way as well. Paul's career spans 3 decades. He's served under 6 different presidents. He enlisted in our Air Force in 1995. Back then, we didn't have cell phones. Our internet was from dial-up. Boys to Men had the #1 song in the nation. And I was still in high school, rocking Zubas. It's ironic that prior to the ceremony, we were sitting in the Billy Mitchell room, because it's a rumor that Kodiak's first supervisor, then First Lieutenant Billy Mitchell, recommended Paul to make the jump into the newly formed Air Force. All jokes aside, his career has taken him and his family from basic training in Texas to comm training in Mississippi to Robbins Air Force Base, Georgia, and a first stint here in Alaska. From there, he went to Langley Air Force Base, Virginia, and also did a year in the desert in Qatar. With a name like Kodiak, though, it was only fitting that he should be here in Alaska. So a decade ago, the Kodiaks came back home one more time. And for the last third of his career, Kodiak has served in the role that truly defined him, First Sergeant. If you'll bear with me for just a few more seconds, I'd like to share 2 thoughts or lessons that Shirt Kodiak has helped reinforce in my mind. The first is the concept of the military family. We're blessed to serve in a very diverse Air Force. Our service brings together people with vastly different backgrounds, different beliefs and opinions, and yet our profession of arms bonds us together. Often this bond is tighter than the ones that we have with our birth families. That's the military family. The Air Force will sometimes point to that and call it the wingman culture, but it's more than a buzzword or a simple creed to memorize. It's a way of life, and I'm blessed to have the Kodiaks in my military family. When times are good and life is easy, we sometimes forget how fortunate we are to have that military family. But when the chips are down and times are tough, it's truly remarkable to be able to pick up a phone and you've got backup on the way without hesitation. I'm proud to have been there for Paul, and I'm blessed that he was there for me as well. Even in retirement, that family will be with you forever, brother. The second theme is that leadership is a team sport. Going into squadron command, I had been told that leadership can be very lonely. And there were times where that was certainly true. But from that first moment at the change of command reception, I knew that I was not alone. I had Shirt Kodiak in my corner. Often it was providing the enlisted perspective of a situation or just listening to me work through the solution and playing devil's advocate. Other times, Shirt Kodiak would say, "I've got this, boss," and a smoke pit mentorship session was all that was needed to fix a situation. We had a hell of a lot thrown at us in a short period of time, but in the Air Force, there's not a lot that a diamond and a commander can accomplish when it's taking care of air. We found the gray space and we exploited the hell out of it. And I was fortunate to have Kodiak help me navigate that minefield. To the leaders and the next generation of leaders here and watching, the torch is now passed. Learn from the example that Shirt Kodiak has given us. In a culture that sometimes struggles to ask for help, be the exception. Be respectful, be honest, never stop learning, and be relentless in taking care of our airmen. Shirt, my brother, the Air Force is better today because of you. Your legacy will be in the lives that you've touched. Thank you for a wildly successful career and service to your country. I'm so excited to see what the next chapter has for the Kodiak family. Today, my friend, I salute you.
Please stand for the medal presentation and certificate of retirement. Attention to orders. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America has awarded Senior Master Sergeant Paul Kodiak the Meritorious Service Medal for meritorious service from 12 December 2017 to 31 December 2021. Senior Master Sergeant Paul Kodiak distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as First Sergeant, 3rd Munitions Squadron, 3rd Maintenance Group, 3rd Wing, Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, Alaska. During this period, Sergeant Kodiak masterfully led the 673rd Medical Group's recovery team after a magnitude 7.1 earthquake rocked South Central Alaska. Taking charge in the midst of chaos, he cleared all medical facilities, assessed personnel for injuries, and evaluated damage to the infrastructure, ultimately ensuring a smooth and safe evacuation of airmen and their dependents while also safeguarding them from the over 80 aftershocks. Additionally, Sergeant Kodiak handcrafted procedures for multi-level senior airmen below the zone promotion mock boards. His efforts instilled confidence among the unit's nominees and directly led to the increase of the installation levels selections by 20%. Finally, as one of the mentors to the installation's career assistance advisor, Sergeant Kodiak both authored a new curriculum and taught 5 courses to 120 military leaders, solidifying core values among the students and directly contributing to the Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson being selected as a recipient of the 2020 Commander-in-Chief's Installation Excellence Award. and Sergeant Kodiak being individually recognized at the 3rd Maintenance Group's 2020 First Sergeant of the Year. The singular distinctive accomplishments of Sergeant Kodiak culminate a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. And now, the presentation of Senior Kodiak's retirement order.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Washington, D.C. Special Order Number AC008359, dated 16 March 2021. By order of the Secretary of the Air Force, Senior Master Sergeant Paul Kodiak is retired from active duty effective 1 January 2022 after 26 years and 25 days of faithful and honorable duty.
All right.
Please be seated. Lieutenant Colonel Powell will now present a certificate of retirement to Senior Master Sergeant Kodiak. Chief of Staff Certificate. The certificate reads, Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is certified that Senior Master Sergeant Paul Kodiak, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Air Force on the first day of January 2022. Signed, Trevolis A. Simmons, Colonel, United States Air Force. Lieutenant Colonel Paul will now present a congratulatory letter from President Biden. The letter reads, I extend to you my personal thanks and a sincere appreciation of our grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in its history with the devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud tradition of the military service. I trust that in the coming years you will maintain an active interest in the armed forces and the purpose for which you served. Those who follow in your footsteps will draw inspiration from your commitment, dedication, and sacrifices made to ensure the protection of our American freedoms. My best wishes to you for your happiness and success in the future. Signed, Joseph R. Biden, Commander-in-Chief. Finally, Senior Master Sergeant Kodiak received a certificate of appreciation from the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. It reads, I'm proud to join your friends and family in congratulating you on your retirement from the United States Air Force. The achievements and contributions you have made throughout your career are indicative of the core values of our great service. Your retirement is well deserved, but your selfless contributions will be sorely missed. On behalf of all airmen, thank you for your faithful and devoted service to our nation. As this chapter in your life closes and a new one begins, I hope the years ahead are filled with more great memories and continued success. Signed, Joanne Bass, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. Mrs. Deborah Kodiak, will you now come forward to place the retirement pin on Sergeant Kodiak's lapel? We would like to present Mrs. Kodiak the Spousal Certificate of Appreciation. The certificate reads, in grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition to Deborah Kodiak for the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service. Signed, Trevolis A. Simmons, Colonel, United States Air Force. We would also like to present Mrs. Kodiak with a certificate of appreciation from the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. It reads as follows. On behalf of all Air Force airmen and their families, the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force presents this certificate of appreciation to Deborah Kodiak. I join your spouse, family, and friends in thanking you for the numerous contributions and sacrifice you made in support of our United States Air Force. Your dedication gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service in defense of our nation. Signed, Joanne Bass, the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. At this time, we'd like to ask Nikki, Paul, and Gina to come on stage for a family retirement photo. Now, Senior Kodiak will present gifts to wife Deborah and children Nikki, Paul, and Gina.
Flowers for you. And these flags. They're going everywhere. Long hours. Good time for them all. I was taking care of Mom when I wasn't around. Bro, it was our best.
Now, members of Team Jaber will come forward to present retirement mementos to Senior Kodiak. First up will be Major Brian Myers and Chief Michael Martin from the 3rd Munition Squad.
So our goal with this gift was to lump a handful of Senior Kodiak's loves into one package. We know that he loves America, that he loves Alaska. We know that he loved serving as a first sergeant. And we think at most times he loved the 3rd Munition Squadron. Over 26 years, we know he has a ton of coins, so we built him a coin rack so that he can hang it on his wall. You know how much he meant to us and hopefully never forget us.
Yes, you did.
Bring it.
Oh,
yes, of course there's going to be words.
I was trying to make it faster.
All right.
Trying to hit fast forward.
All right. Well, I'll make it brief, but I can't tell you, and everybody in here, I just want to express how much this man has meant to me. When I took command here, it was kind of similar to what Colonel Paul said. We took command on a Thursday, and the first call I got was from Paul on Friday morning to let me know that there was a bear in the office. I thought he was punking the new guy. I really did. I was like, yeah, right. And then of course there was a bear in the office. So, you know, that was my welcome to Alaska. But my welcome to command was later on that very same evening when he called me at about 2 a.m. for our first DUI that we had together that very night. So kind of welcoming me into command. But the one thing I was impressed with from the very first day was your dedication to taking care of the airmen. I have never, in my 27 years in the Air Force, seen anybody work harder and more passionate about taking care of the troops. Every moment, this man was busy all the time on behalf of our airmen. Many times I'd come in the office, it'd be like 8 o'clock at night, and I'd be like, oh, go home. He'd be like, one more thing. I got one more thing I got to do. And it was never for himself, but it was always for the benefit of our airmen. You are the epitome of service before self. You have made a massive, massive impression on this brother. And a giant hole when you are, as you're leaving the Air Force, it's going to be very difficult. Paul, you have made my time as commander so much easier just by being here. I appreciate everything you've done for my brother. And greatest of successes.
Let's get off track real quick. How's it been? Not yet.
Not yet?
Oh boy.
First Sergeants, prepare to form the diamond. Today, you will recognize a first sergeant by a twinkle in your eye to lighten up dark and gloomy situations. Firm shoulders for leaning on and carrying problems. Eyes in the back of their head for seeing everything that's going on. Strong hands to lead and guide. A tough body that can endure all types of stress and keep smiling. Worry wrinkles in the brow from care and concern for their people. A longing behind the smile from loneliness because people only see them as the shirt, the one to stay away from, the one to be feared. Senior Master Sergeant Paul Kodiak, you are one of us and you will be missed, but remember, diamonds are forever. First Sergeants, dismissed. Now, the Diamond Council will present Senior Master Sergeant Kodiak with a memento. We ask all First Sergeants, retired and serving, to come up to the stage.
What you got? Hey,
I was trying to hide.
it's that camouflage, baby. Blending. Come on up here. We'll take a picture in a minute, but what a great honor to be on this stage, all of us, with you. Billy Mitchell, I thought it was Robin Olds with that mustache. Seriously though, an honor. First off though, Deb, you are a saint. I don't know what the chuckles are for. I don't know if you guys think I'm going somewhere with this. I got to work with you, Deb, and I got to see for the first time in my career what my wife goes through every day. So, thank you. Really, the entire front row. Thank you. The many hours that this man dedicated to people in need, I cannot thank you enough. My pulse is screaming. Yeah. You have made such an impact, not just on the airmen, but on our first sergeants. I mean, look around the room. Probably about 100 over the last, 13 years you've been first sergeant. A third of your career. Up and down the chain, there's no limit to the ranks of people that you have been able to lead, to be able to bring the most potential out of them. I mean, look, Rosario singing that song, man. I had notes on my hand, but they sweated off. You did amazing, right? And that's one of your airmen meeting their full potential. So thank you from the bottom of the First Sergeant Council's heart. We got you just a little something to show you thank you.
Wow. I didn't even get up here. Good. Good.
Hold your breath.
Hold your breath.
Hold your breath.
Wow.
Yeah, if you guys go ahead and go, thanks for say a few words, give some perspective of my career.
Absolutely, sir.
Appreciate y'all bringing me up as an honorary first sergeant. Once a shirt, always a shirt. That's it. Diamonds are forever, right? So, for those who don't know, Chief Master Sergeant Lee Mills, I'm the Air Base Wing Command Chief, which means I'm the functional manager for the first sergeant. I'm one person, and we have about 19 first sergeants on this base, which means I can't know what's going on all the time. So I rely heavily on my senior first sergeant to mentor, guide, and lead these other first sergeants who are leading literally thousands of other airmen. Now, what I will say is I got here and I heard about this guy named Kodiak who's been here since like Elmendorf was established. I think was what they had told me at some point. And I said, I gotta meet this guy. And so I did, and holy cow. He shared his story of what the Air Force has given him. And if there's anybody that has paid the Air Force back in spades, it's you. I've never met somebody as dedicated as him to say, hey, so I know you're coming up on retirement, when are you going to be done? He's like, retirement day is like 1st of Jan, I'll finish up on December 31st. I'm like, dude, okay, come on, you got to take at least a few days for yourself. And I'm confident in that time off, you're probably still working for airmen. Yeah? Yeah, probably, okay.
Yes, sir.
The other piece of that, though, is with Paul, is talking with other individuals, we're like, man, trouble always seems to find Paul. You know, and I've thought about that a lot over the time, and it isn't that trouble finds you, but people know who to reach out to when they're in trouble, is what it comes down to. And whether it was on this base or off this base, Paul Kodiak was there for anybody. Myself, I called to check on him. He's helping neighbors out, right? I'm like, man, let me come by. Nah, man, I got this guy. I know these people. But it's people like Paul that make my job easier, that make leaders within a wing trust that our airmen are being taken care of because we have people like Paul that are getting after it. And the beauty of it is it's not about us, it's about the legacy we leave behind and setting people up to step up into our shoes. And everybody on that row right there, and we got a few over here, are ready for that because of you. So don't ever forget that. And the other thing I know is you're still going to be around, right? And we know we can still rely on you to reach back and say, hey man, have you ever dealt with this? Can I borrow the ghillie suit? I got something going on. I need to move around the dorms without being seen. Inside joke.
Well done.
But that's what for me personally, I just want to say thank you. I want to say job well done. You're no longer throwing off my stats for my experience level of first sergeants. It's probably going to be real now. It says like 8 years. Once he's gone, it's going to say 2. I'm just saying that. But and to your family, thank you for giving us your husband and your dad for as long as you did. Thanks for still being here and supporting him, because he's needed it over the years as much as we've needed it. So nothing quite as big as that, but a small token to maybe put on your board to say, man, love you, brother. Job well done.
Now a final memento from the SOT shop, represented by A1C Jones.
Hello.
You may not know me, but from St. Clair Squadron, Fire Shop, last work weekend for sure. I'm told that this is your legacy, working as a half SMSgt family, like you do,
Fable. Fable. Third party. Fable lives. Little Mangle. Absolutely. There's a story, a long story.
At this time, I'd like to invite Senior Fritz to read Old Glory while Senior Kodiak is presented with the flag.
I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over great institutions of learning, and I stand guard with the greatest military power the world has ever known. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident, I am arrogant, and I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher, my colors a little truer. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am saluted. I am respected. I am revered. I am loved. And I am feared. I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years. Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Argonne Forest, Anzio, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, the jungles of Guam, Okinawa, Tarawa, Korea, Vietnam, in the heat of the Persian Gulf, Afghanistan, and a score of places long forgotten by all but those who were there with me. I was there. I led my soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. I followed them. I watched over them. They loved me. I was on a small hill on Iwo Jima. I was dirty, battle-worn, and tired, but my sailors and Marines cheered me, and I was proud. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of countries that I have helped set free. It does not hurt, for I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of my own country. And when it is done by those I have served in battle with, oh, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the surely bonds of earth and touched the face of God. And from my vantage point upon the moon, I stand watch over the new frontiers of space. I have been the silent witness to all of America's finest hours. But my finest hour comes when I am torn into strips to be used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the field of battle. When I fly at half-mast to honor my soldiers, my sailors, my airmen, and my Marines. And when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving mother at the graveside of her fallen son or daughter, oh, it is then when I am the most proud. So hear me, I, and I alone, am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave, dear God, long may I wave.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce Senior Master Sergeant Paul Kodiak, United States Air Force, retired.
Did you say thank you and step off the stage? Thank you guys. Probably wrong for doing that. So, first and foremost, I would like to thank God above for watching over me and my family over the last 26 years. Deb, there's not enough thank yous for taking care of me and the home front. 24/7 throughout the TDYs, the deployments, the shift work, the long hours, and second and third jobs. I love you, babe. Thank you. As Kenny Rogers would say, you are my lady. And to my kids, Nikki, Paul, and Gina, thank you for picking up everything else that Mom or I couldn't do. Enough thank yous, there isn't enough. Colonel Paul, sorry, you definitely epitomize what it means to be a wingman, a leader, a warrior, and a brother in arms. I can't thank you enough coming all the way from Saudi Arabia. It just speaks what it is. We've been through the good, we've been through the bad, and we've been through the ugly. Chapel Warner, sir, thank you for the invitation and being my confidant. A1C Rosario, your rendition of the national anthem is unmatched. Chief Drago, Chief Mills, Colonel Anderson, thank you for being here today. 26 years has gone by at the blink of an eye. Senior Martin, where are you at?
Back here, sir.
Thank you for what you did with Honor Guard. Thank you for letting me watch you grow as a young airman. That was amazing. You almost won. I'm not there yet. And thank you again to the Honor Guard family. You did an amazing job. Sergeant Van Gundy, where you at? Back there. Making things happen. Sergeant Black.
Back here.
Right there. Sergeant Middlecombe, Sergeant Padilla, Master Sergeant Raposa, Senior Master Sergeant Fritzberg, Sergeant Fritz. Oh my God. That was amazing. Thank you. Sergeant Tysinger, where you at? Thanks for being my wingman. Where's Mitch? Not letting me go out on my own this afternoon. Might not have found my way back. Thanks for being my wingman. Sergeant Elwood, where you at? Brother, that shadow box is unmasked. I think you won on that one. I think I might owe you a beer. Thank you to all my other first sergeants. All of you will hold a special place in my heart. The setup and teardown crew, where are you at? Thank you guys for putting this together. This is unmatched. And thank you to my mother-in-law, Susie Q, for pushing me to new levels throughout my career. May you continue to rest in peace. To my buddy Trip, if you're out there, thank you for always being a role model to others and a wingman. And you still continue to be a wingman throughout your own challenges. This list could go on for hours. Where's Woody at? Right there. Another one of my wing dogs. Thank you for everything you did for me as a first sergeant. I think all of our careers can definitely relate to music in some type of way. My career's been a little bit like Frank Sinatra's song, My Way. Over the last 26 years, have flown by at warp speed. I have reminisced about this song and its relationship to my career. I don't think I did too bad, as I've driven my family crazy, my family, my friends, and supervisors crazy. At times, well, maybe all the time. Prior to enlisting, I struggled to find meaning and purpose. I went from being a busboy, a retail worker, into the mortgage industry, real estate, a mechanic, a roofer, a handyman, and back to retail, and then over to drive a tow truck. And yes, I'm sure there were a few that I missed. Wait a minute, I did forget one. Wendy's. I didn't last too long there. I probably set a record somewhere, as I got fired within 4 hours on my first day. I don't even think I got a paycheck for that. Yeah. So Dave wasn't happy with me. That's a different story for a different time. So I'm going to rewind to 1992. This is when I met my wife, Debbie, and my oldest daughter, Nikki. It was in summer. I was moving my best friend, Robert, out of his mother's house. And Deb happened to be there while I was moving Rob out. And I found out that she was his sister. And I think I liked her. I gave her my pager number. And lo and behold, later that year we became a thing. Although we didn't have cell phones or Netflix to chill with, we did have Motorola Bravo pagers that we would send codes to each other through. We went through our normal ups and downs as a thing. I had a challenging time holding a job longer than a few weeks to a few months. Deb wasn't too happy about that at times with me. As she got to know me though, she found out that my family believed that all sons should serve at least 4 years in the military to give back to the greatest country in the world. A small price to pay for all the freedoms that we have. Throughout this time, I made some not so good choices, as Frankie would go on to sing in a song that regrets I've had a few, but too few to mention. Deb saw something in me, still haven't figured out what it is, or what it is to this day, but she pushed me to carry out my family's wishes. So I was off to the Navy recruiter, as I was an NJROTC for about 2 years in high school, and my father served in the Army and the Navy, and I was a little familiar with the Navy at that point. Also, my grandfather served in the Army, and it was time to grow up and carry on a tradition of honor. Rather than follow in their footsteps, again, as Frankie would say, I did it my way. Things didn't work out so well with the Navy recruiter, so I popped in next door to the Air Force recruiter, Staff Sergeant Paula Powers. Never forget her. Man, she was an awesome NCO. She truly exemplified the Air Force core values as she walked me through the recruiting process. Now, I know there's probably not so many folks in this room that feel that way about their recruiter, but this recruiter went far above and beyond, and actually even came to my wedding. So that was my welcome to the Air Force family. I made a brief bad decision in basic training. Where's Major Myers at? My current commander kind of heard the story, so he could attest to it. Made a not so good decision in basic training. I decided to imitate my TI by wearing his hat and his shoes with his taps, post red line inspection while he wasn't there. The flight was down in dumps as we didn't make honor flight, so I figured I'd take it upon myself and lighten the mood a little bit. Thanks to that wonderful call box on the wall, he ended up showing back up in the dorm room. That stunt almost got me recycled back to 0 week. I learned a little more about our awesome Air Force culture and the chain of command as I was introduced to my squadron commander, Major Montgomery. Won't forget the look on her face. Our basic training squadron commander for that. Sorry. I was asked to perform my invitation of my TI in front of her, and I told her I had nothing. I came up empty. And I can still see her to this day with her head down, not making any eye contact with me, and I thought I was going to get killed. I finally made it through basic training and off to tech school. So off to Keesler without any issues. After 8 months at Keesler, was off to Robbins, where I joined the good old 5 Deuce, second to none, thanks to an awesome team led by Major Keith Bull Miller and Master Sergeant Tracy Summers. As I was getting ready to separate, I had the opportunity to talk with the first sergeant. He asked me what my plans were, and apparently I didn't have any, as I was going to do it my way and go back to Philly. Top wasn't too thrilled with my response and wanted me to reconsider as I proved to be a decent airman. This is when we were doing all the downsizing, 600,000 down to 400,000 at the time, I think, or 500. I went home and talked with Deb, and she told me it was up to me on what we were going to do, as the Air Force was a pretty good life. She said whatever I decided, she would support it, except when I became first sergeant. Everything I need to do is in black and white to have a good career. Would y'all agree with that? So, to have a good career. All I had to do is be like Emerald. I had a supervisor who said this, and kick it up a notch to have a great career. Well, folks that know me know I like to cook, so as I evolved as an airman, I took a little from Frankie and a little from Emerald, and I learned to do it my way while kicking it up a notch. Well, back to Top's office with a plan. I'm ready to re-enlist at this point. Lots of forms and paperwork to be filled in by typewriters and lots of correction fluid. There's no Control F. When I re-enlisted, what do you know? A few weeks later, I got an assignment to a place called Elmendorf Air Force Base, Alaska. A little taken aback, I was reluctant to go home and tell Deb. Initially, the response wasn't great coming from a Philly girl. It was more or less, who the hell wants to go to Alaska? So a time without cell phones, the internet and computers just coming online, free 3.5-inch floppy disks from the commissary with a free month of America Online on them. Oh boy, what an adventure we were setting off for. A drive to Philly from Robbins Air Force Base in Georgia to say our goodbyes for a few years, and off into the wild blue yonder, across the great land of the United States. As Frankie would say, we've lived a life that's full, and it feels like we've traveled each and every highway as we've PCS'd across the U.S. 3 times. What an adventure. A pregnant wife, our 2-year-old son, and our teenage daughter with Barney. I love you, you love me, still burned into my head to this day, playing in the background for days on end in our minivan. As my time continued in the Air Force, some would agree with Frankie that I may have bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out, faced it all, and I stood tall. By the way, did I mention I did it my way? My family and my Air Force family have loved, laughed, and cried. We've had our fill, share well of, maybe get in a little trouble here and there. Well, in Alaska the first time, one of the best work centers in my career that I can remember was Big P. Better known as politically incorrect comm personnel. We did things that weren't part of our career fields, we just got them done, regardless of the tasks. For example, if you guys look at the radome out there on the flight line, the E&I crew had to leave early because of Hurricane Katrina. But Big P and a few others ended up getting her done. If the radar wasn't set up before the snow flew, it definitely would have negatively impacted the flying mission that year. Well, this shop is where I received my first LOR. Senior Master Sergeant retired Michael Patch back there. Tech Sergeant Patch then. Definitely got my attention and got my priorities refocused. Thanks, brother, for everything you did for me. Well, at this point, I overstayed my welcome at Elmendorf as with PCS to Langley, where I worked on some unique equipment and a unique mission. More opportunities presented themselves than I could think about. After a 3-year stint there and a year in the Middle East, back to Alaska. My dear friend Alaska. Shortly after coming back, I got promoted and I reached my dream of becoming a first sergeant. Followed by some significant emotional events. Loss of Deb's mom, my open heart surgery, and a few other events. Another shout out to you, sir. Could never repay you or thank you enough for what you did for our airmen, or me personally, the hospital visits, the calls, you name it. You never gave up on me, even though I wasn't under your command any longer. I know you wanted me to retire, but I wasn't ready, and I don't think the Air Force was ready either. Your friendship and mentorship have helped me continue to fight and take care of our airmen. I fought the odds of a med board with the support of my leadership all the way to the top. Open heart surgery wouldn't stop us. Mr. Johnny Hernandez and Miss Jackie Tebow and the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program definitely helped me through some of the difficult times. I still had more to do for our airmen. I lost my diamond temporarily due to the heart surgery, but I got it back a few months later. Thank you, Chief Orff, Chief Barry, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Wright, Chief Manny Pinero, Senior Master Sergeant Shannon Tabor, and the rest of the crew. You know who you are. Being a first sergeant. Never mind, disregard. Being an airman is more than a position or a duty. It's an uncompromising commitment to each other and our families 24/7. We are the 1%ers. And did I say, not in a shy way, I did it my way. That we did pretty damn good. It's been a hell of a ride. I have a few requests before the final curtain drops. 1, look around. Each of you leave the wood pile a little bit higher than what you found it. Keep the community a little warmer. 2, never leave an arrow behind. I don't care if they're superior, subordinate, or lateral. Don't do it. Take the extra time. Take care of each other as we are in unprecedented times. It's time for me to pass the torch. I challenge each of you to carry the torch of freedom high and proud. Thank you all for coming. I salute all of you. And all current first sergeants, please meet up at the closure of the ceremony.
The men and women of the United States Air Force are proud to have served with Senior Master Sergeant Kodiak and wish him and his family the best in their future endeavors. Please remain standing for the departure of the official party. This concludes today's ceremony. The Kodiak family once again thanks you for coming and invites you to attend the reception in the rear. Thank you.
Oh my God.
That's great.